Hey everyone, James here, and welcome back to yet another day of VEDS. In today's video, I am going to be doing a pseudo-sequel to a video I did, of course, in the 2022 VEDS season. That was the top 10 Disney properties that I felt should have had attractions. Now, I will say, I couldn't think of another 10, but I was able to think of 5. So, here now are the next top 5 Disney IPs that I think should have attractions in Disney theme parks. Let's start off with number 5. Oh, I forgot to say, these are in no particular order, by the way. These are just sort of the way I wrote them down in a Google document, so they're kind of all over the place. But yeah, so let's go back to number 5. Okay, so number 5 is going to be based on a 90s cult classic that I think at this point Disney kind of recognizes what they have with this specific property, because you're seeing it pop up a lot more, and the songs especially are popping up a lot more. I'm of course talking about the 90s cult classic, A Goofy Movie.
Goofy, Max, and all their awesome friends in the comedy that proves it's hard to be cool when your dad is goofy. A Goofy Movie.
Disney has recognized the sort of cult favorite status of A Goofy Movie, and they have been using elements from it and characters from it a lot more in recent years. Max can sometimes be completely met in a Powerline uniform. I think he also wears the Powerline uniform for the opening pre-parade for the Halloween parties. When Disney did their 80s to 90s like celebration concert at the Hollywood Bowl, and I think they also did it just this past month at Destination D23, not only did they have Bill Farmer, the voice of Goofy, come up to sing On the Open Road, they also ended the whole shebang with Eye to Eye. And Disneyland Paris, a couple years ago, I think this was probably the first time Disney kind of used this, made a one-day show, like 20 to 30-minute show, that was about Max. It was called Max Live Getting Goofy With It, that celebrated a lot of different IPs, but did end with Eye to Eye, and also had Goofy wearing his A Goofy Movie outfit. And so at this point, I would argue, how long is it until we get a ride based on a Goofy Movie? Now, I know a lot of people are going to say that A Goofy Movie, and in particular Powerline, should have taken over Rock and Roller Coaster and not the Electric Mayhem, to which I say, wrong! Okay, I'm not saying it wouldn't have been good. I definitely could imagine going that fast with Eye to Eye, or Stand Out, or After Today, or whatever song they wanted to do. They could even randomize it. Would have been cool. I also kind of think that the Electric Mayhem does fit that ride probably a little more. And let's be honest, with the closure of Muppet Vision 3D, it was nice to kind of see them be like, okay, we're taking this away, but you are getting something else related to the Muppets. Now, let's move away from that tangent. What I am suggesting for this slot, number 5, is a Goofy Movie dark ride. A trackless dark ride, very much in the same vein as the Zootopia Hot Pursuit ride that currently exists at Shanghai Disneyland. Only instead of cop cars this time, you are going to be getting into a version of Goofy's car, the old jalopy of a car, from A Goofy Movie. And since it is a dark ride, it would be a dark ride style attraction where you would go through scenes depicting various locations that Goofy and Max went on the open road during A Goofy Movie. So, you would take a visit to Lester's Possum Park, you would go to Goofy's fishing spot, you would go to have a chase with Bigfoot, you would go down a waterfall.
A waterfall! Waterfall!
Bring it on.
Just like in the Zootopia ride, where that ride ends with a concert from Gazelle, this one would end with 3 audio animatronics, Goofy, Max, and Powerline, doing Eye to Eye. It would end at a Powerline concert. But yeah, that's kind of the general gist. So yeah, let's move on to number 4. Okay, so number 4 is more in line with, like, an experience. So think of something akin to, like, Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, which used to be a game at the Magic Kingdom, or I think it was, like, Pirates League did a very similar thing. Or honestly, another way to think about this is also kind of like the old Agent P, Kim Possible, DuckTales World Showcase adventure that used to be at Epcot, something like that. It would be a park-based sort of experience based around Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
They've got nothing in common except their attachment to one another.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket or you're just happy to see me?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? A Steven Spielberg presentation, a Robert Zemeckis film.
Only this time, you are going to be recruited not by Alka or whatever organization Kim Possible was a part of, or whatever organization, I guess Scrooge McDuck for DuckTales, I don't know. Only this time you are going to be recruited in Hollywood Studios, so this will be like one for Hollywood Studios, by Eddie Valiant. You are going to be the latest detective prodigy coming out of Valiant and Valiant. And you are going to be tasked to go around the whole park and try to investigate and find clues related to another murder, or maybe the murder of Marvin Acme, that once again, or, you know, as it does in the movie, that Roger Rabbit has been accused of. Now, I imagine we're not going to do the phone thing. This will probably all be done in the Play Disney Parks app. And what I would want to have happen, although I know this is probably impossible, was what I think would be cool would be if you did complete it and you did vindicate Roger, maybe the app would give you a special location and a QR code to go to and to scan that could maybe lead into an Eddie Valiant and Roger Rabbit meet and greet. Now, do I expect this to happen? No. Not because Disney is necessarily apprehensive to using the Roger Rabbit IP, because we have seen Disney use the Roger Rabbit IP and the Roger Rabbit characters in the parks throughout many years. Of course, back in the 90s, they had Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, and as recently as the last couple Oogie Boogie Bashes, we have had Judge Doom be one of the villains that you can meet on the treat trails. I'm only saying I don't think it's going to happen is because for an experience like this, it would probably cost a lot of money. Number 2, the fact that we no longer have Bob Hoskins probably means that you wouldn't be able to really do Eddie Valiant. You could maybe have Jessica recruit you, because again, when they refurbished Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, she did take on more of a detective role. But the reason why I even bring any of this up is because one of the reasons why I think that's been confirmed that you can't really see Roger Rabbit anymore outside of like specialty events is because I believe Disney doesn't own the Roger Rabbit character 100%. I don't know exactly what the split is, but I believe it's a split between Disney and Robert Zemeckis. So anything that Disney wants to do with the character has to go through him. At least that's my general understanding of it. But either way, I think it would be really cool. I think it would be really cool to meet Roger Rabbit again. He is kind of a fan favorite character. He's really popular in Disneyland Paris. If you want a good chance to meet Roger Rabbit, go to Disneyland Paris during one of their specialty nights. He almost always pops up in one way or another, whether it's in a show or with Eddie Valiant or the horrifying Jessica Rabbit.
Oh, yikes. That's gonna haunt me in my nightmares. Can we just move on, please?
Let's move on to number 3. Okay, number 3 really isn't an idea that I had. It's more just wanting somebody else's idea to come to fruition. Number 3 is going to be based on Mary Poppins.
Goodbye, Mary Poppins. Don't stay away too long.
And the idea for this one is, again, not even my idea. It's basically just to build Tony Baxter's Jolly Holiday ride that he pitched back before he joined Imagineering. I think it's what got him into Imagineering all the way back in the day. The general gist of his idea was it was called the Jolly Holiday Ride, and there are videos online of him explaining it, but the general overview of it would be that the ride vehicle would be merry-go-round horses that at the start of the ride leap off of the track just like they do in the movie Mary Poppins, and then travel through show scenes depicting songs from Mary Poppins. So you would see the Penguin Waders, you would see Supercalifragilistic at the horse track, you would then go out of the chalk drawing and into like Step in Time, and I think it ended with Let's Go Fly a Kite. Honestly, his idea is probably exactly what I would have pitched if I had never heard about it before, and I'm really just sad that it never got made. Or the fact that we still do not have a Mary Poppins attraction. Slight tangent, for those of you who might not remember, at one of the D23 expos prior to 2020, Disney did announce they did a whole shebang with Step in Time. They even carted out Dick Van Dyke to announce that in Epcot, Mary Poppins would finally be getting an attraction. And then 2020 happened. And we have heard nothing about it since. And I believe it's either been put on hold indefinitely, or it was just outright canned. Now, I do believe there is some leaked concept art showing what that ride would have been. I think it just would have been a spinner ride, but again, don't quote me on that. And I also would have wanted that because that was also based on Mary Poppins Returns, which, as everybody knows, if you've watched this channel for a while, I actually really liked Mary Poppins Returns. But I also love Mary Poppins, and I think it's high time that the woman who is practically perfect in every way got her own attraction. So let's stop sitting on the pot, jump off, and let's make Tony Baxter's idea come to life. But anyway, let's go back to number 2. Number 2 is going to be based on a movie that I am surprised I didn't actually talk about in the first one, to my knowledge, given this and this. Yeah, so it's Aladdin.
Come over here, big group hug. Group hug. Never had a friend like
Walt Disney Pictures, Aladdin.
you. Never had a friend like me.
Yeah, I know, that's a big surprise. But let's be honest, if I was going to do another one of these, you kind of expected I was going to bring up Aladdin in one way, shape, or form. It is my favorite Disney movie, as many people already know.
Oh, really? Cam, you never mentioned that before.
And this isn't a ride necessarily, because Aladdin already does have a ride. Even though I like it, it is kind of just a Dumbo clone. But what this would have been, again, it's not even a ride, it's more like a show. It's a Streetmosphere show. And the best comparison that I can give would be to Muppet Mobile Labs, which was a kind of impressive, when you really thought about it, show that they did in Epcot, and I believe Disney's California Adventure, that had Dr. Bunsen Honeydew and Beaker doing experiments on a Muppet Mobile Lab in front of guests outside, just on the sidewalk. It's really impressive. Go back and watch some videos of Muppet Mobile Labs. It's actually really cool, the technology of it especially. But what this would be is something like that, where you would have the genie as a face character, probably in a very similar garb to what he wears on Broadway, or again in Disneyland Paris in that Mickey and the Magician show. Only because I don't really know if you want, especially in Florida, if you want an actor having to endure hours of makeup, like in the Aladdin, a Musical Spectacular show, without air conditioning. I'm just saying. But the idea of the show would basically be Genie out on the street enjoying his newfound freedom, doing magic tricks, real magic tricks, in front of guests. And like Muppet Mobile Labs, this wouldn't be a very long show. It would probably happen a couple times a day, and it would only last about like 10 minutes. And the only people who would get to see it would be the people who would just be around when it happened. So that's number 2. And let's move on to number 1. Now, number 1 is, how do I explain this? It's a ride concept that may very well be being built, and we just don't know it yet. So when they announced Villains Land coming to Magic Kingdom, in the concept art, you saw a roller coaster, and the roller coaster I think was described as being Maleficent themed with the dragon. What I'm going to say though is I actually think that's the wrong way to do it. I want to pitch a roller coaster themed after Night on Bald Mountain from Fantasia.
See the music come to life. Hear the pictures burst into song. And experience Walt Disney's masterpiece, Fantasia.
Now, being a roller coaster, there's not really much to talk about here. Basically, again, it would be a roller coaster around the mountain of Night on Bald Mountain from Fantasia, and you would be twisting and sliding and going backwards and forwards around the mountain with smoke and fire effects, and right at the very top of the roller coaster, right before like a massive drop, you would have the music of Night on Bald Mountain and a giant Chernobog audio animatronic dancing to the music, and then you would plunge back down to the bottom, and that would be the end of the ride. Again, kind of simple, but I didn't say all these were that really, in depth. And there you have it. Those were my next top 5 Disney IPs that should have attractions or experiences, I guess, in the Disney theme parks. Let me know what any of you thought about any of these ideas in the comment section down below. And until tomorrow, guys, gals, and my fellow VEDS-ies, I will see you tomorrow.